most investors, when they come into Africa or any other third world countries where they're afraid of the political risk and risks which are not normally covered by the normal insurance companies, they would rather not come to invest in that country, because they don't want, unless of course they want to take the risk of doing the business without being covered. But ATI's products have been available, particularly for to cover risks like expropriation, currency transfer restriction, political violence, which of course, as you know, is very rampant in Africa, particularly after elections. And of course, what happened in Egypt and Libya are good examples of recent unrest. And these are some of the risks which ATI covers. But we have been restricted mainly to the member states who are the COMESA member states who are the current member shareholders.
Now, one of the products that ATI offers is political risk insurance, and Kenya suffered the post-election violence in 2008. How important is this product in enhancing as well as promoting trade in the continent?
We find that most people who want to do business in Africa and they cannot cover themselves, will find that they shouldn't be doing any business. So in terms of promoting trade, I think we make sure that investors and the people who are trading in Africa are covered. For instance, if you trading, doing cross-border trading, and you find that a country where you have supplied or you're trading with, and there's this violence, you might not be able to get your money back, because maybe the person you're supplying to would go under because there's been some riots, or rather there's been political violence which would make them unable to pay you, for instance. And so those are some of the non-payment covers we give, and it covers trade.
Now, just last month, Africa Development Bank as well as ATI came together and signed a 15 million equity deal. Please shed more light on this investment.
The Africa Development Bank, as you know, is a premier banking institution in Africa, and of course their mandate is also to promote, to make sure that member states are, are able to grow in terms of investments as well as, and they believe that ATI, is a partner, would be a partner in this catalyst, because FTA, as you know, ADB would lend to countries or lend to for projects, and if of course they find out that ATI, cover is also useful because it mitigates some of the risks which, normally, financiers would normally take on, without cover. So I think ATI's investment in ADB's investment in ATI is an endorsement that ATI is doing a good job in Africa.
Now, access to credit is one of the prime concerns for SMEs in the continent. What's ATI's business strategy in promoting SMEs within Africa?
I think on the SME side, I think our mandate mainly has not been on the MSA with the SMEs, but I think that's an area we're looking at closely. But lucky enough, I don't know whether you're aware that there's a company called African Guarantee Fund, which has been established recently, by, ADB has supported it, and of course the government of Spain, I believe, and one or two other, European governments who have put in a seed fund for them to operate. They're based here in Kenya, where, so their main mandate is to cover SME financing, and we'll be working with them closely to make sure that we're able to either co-insure or reinsure with them, those SMEs risks.
Lastly, George, we know ATI is in a number of countries in Africa. You're in East Africa as well as in Malawi and Zambia. Are you looking at expanding operations within the continent, and what next for you?
Yeah, ATI, I think, initially was set up with a mandate to cover whole of Africa, but obviously it wasn't easy to get all the countries together, in one go. So the strategy was to start with East Africa, COMESA states, who are the first original shareholders or initial shareholders, and then we moved on to this was 7 countries, of East Africa and part of Southern Africa. Then obviously we recently Ghana and Benin have already signed on. So we're just trying to finalize the membership, Before that, of course, Ivory Coast was also part of it, but it fell off because of the crisis. So we started negotiating, talking to them again. Togo has shown interest. They have applied, and obviously recently we had other applications from Southern Sudan. I'm sure you must have heard about that. Then of course, Ethiopia, we've made some progress. They're just in the process of sending in the application. We've had applications from Gabon. So in short, we're really expanding. We're talking to Nigeria closely. So I see ATI in the next 3-4 years as having more than triple the member states. From the 11 member states we have at the moment, I could see us getting to 33 member states in the next 3 to 4 years.